There's no such thing as too cold, there are just too many layers of clothing. I think that a lot of people don't really know how to dress for very cold conditions. You don't have to bundle up like a sausage to stay warm. All you need to do is keep your core temperature high enough and protect your extremities. You can still stay warm even if your fingers are freezing. And yes, it's possible to sleep outside in freezing temperatures without shelter or a sleeping bag. It just requires a little bit of knowledge about what not to do. But what if we took this idea of surviving in the Arctic to the next level? What if humans lived permanently in the Arctic Circle? How would our bodies change over time? The Inuit people have been living at the top of the world for thousands of shorter, darker days with limited access to resources, carving out a life from the frozen landscape. They've adapted both physically and culturally to survive. So how could we fare in such a harsh environment? Would we even survive? Well, let us take a look at some of the ways that the Inuit have adapted, and then see what sort of adaptations we might need to adopt ourselves. The Inuit people are the quintessential Arctic survivor. They've thrived in the Arctic for tens of generations, hunting seals, whales, and other animals that live in the frigid water off the coast of northern Canada, Greenland, and Alaska. These hardy people have had to adapt to the physical challenges of the Arctic, including the cold, the darkness, and the isolation. Inuit means people in their language, Inuktitut. They refer to themselves as such because they believe that they are the only true people. Everyone else is an Inuk, which means human being. This reflects the sense of isolation that they must have felt living in one of the most inhospitable environments on Earth. This feeling of isolation has likely played a major role in the evolution of their culture, values, and traditions. Inuit culture is built around family and community. Family ties are extremely important, and the community is the basic unit of social organization. The Inuit traditionally live in small, close-knit groups that rely on each other for survival. They share food, resources, and knowledge, and they work together to hunt and build shelter. Their society is also highly adaptable and flexible. The Inuit are constantly changing and evolving in order to meet the challenges of the Arctic environment. For example, they've developed new hunting techniques and technologies to catch new species of fish and mammals. They've also had to adapt to the changing climate and the introduction of new diseases. The Inuit are known for their skill as hunters, and they've developed a wide range of techniques to hunt a variety of animals. They use traditional methods such as hunting with dogs and using kayaks and umiaks, which are large boats made from animal skins. The Inuit also have a deep knowledge of the Arctic environment, and they use this knowledge to track animals, find food, and navigate the ice-jammed waters of the Arctic. They were able to read the signs left behind by animals, and they know where to find plants and berries that can be used for food. The Inuit also have a strong connection to the animals they hunt, and they respect the animals and use every part of them. One of the most well-known Inuit legends is that of Igirak, the goddess of the Arctic. Igirak is said to be the mother of all Inuit, and she is responsible for teaching them how to survive in the Arctic environment. She taught them how to build igloos, hunt animals, and find food. She is also said to be the protector of the Inuit, and she watches over them and helps them in times of need. The Inuit have a rich culture and history, and they've been able to thrive in one of the most inhospitable environments on Earth. Their skill as hunters, their deep knowledge of the Arctic environment, and their strong connection to the animals they hunt have all contributed to their survival. Their culture is built around family and community, and they've been able to adapt and evolve in order to meet the challenges of the Arctic. If we were to try to live like the Inuit permanently, we would need to learn from their way of life and adapt to the Arctic environment. We would need to develop the skills to hunt and find food in the Arctic. We would need to learn how to build shelters that could protect us from the elements, and we would need to develop a strong sense of community in order to survive. But beyond just learning from the Inuit way of life, we would also need to adapt physically to the Arctic environment. This means that our bodies would need to change in order to survive the cold, dark winters of the Arctic Circle. One of the most obvious changes would be the need for more body fat. Body fat acts as insulation, helping to keep the body warm in cold temperatures. People who live in colder climates tend to have a higher percentage of body fat than people who live in warmer climates. This is because body fat helps to keep them warm in the cold weather. Additionally, body fat also helps to store energy, which is important when food is scarce, as it often is in the Arctic. People who live in colder climates tend to have a higher percentage of muscle mass than people who live in warmer climates. This is because muscle mass helps to generate heat, which is important for staying warm in cold temperatures. Additionally, muscle mass also helps with hunting and other physical activities that are necessary for survival in the Arctic. We might also need to grow more body hair. Body hair can provide some insulation against the cold, and it is also important for absorbing heat from the sun. People who live in colder climates tend to have more body hair than people who live in warmer climates. This is because body hair helps to trap a layer of air close to the skin, which provides insulation against the cold. Additionally, body hair also helps to absorb heat from the sun, which is important for staying warm in cold temperatures. Our eyes might also change. People who live in the Arctic Circle face a different set of visual challenges than people who live in lower latitudes. The Inuit people, who have lived in the Arctic Circle for generations, have adapted to these challenges and have developed some unique visual characteristics. The Inuit people have a higher density of rods than cones in their retinas. Rods are the photoreceptors that are responsible for vision in low light conditions. This means that the Inuit people are better able to see in the dark, which is important for hunting and navigating in the Arctic Circle during the winter months when the sun only shines for a few hours per day. Additionally, the Inuit people also have a higher percentage of rods than cones in their retinas. Cones are the photoreceptors that are responsible for color vision and visual acuity. This means that the Inuit people are less able to see colors, but they're better able to see shapes and movements in their peripheral vision. This is important for detecting predators or prey while hunting. If we were to live in the Arctic Circle permanently, we would likely face similar visual challenges, and our eyes would need to adapt in order to survive. Our eyes might also change in order to help us see better in the dark. The Arctic Circle is known for its long periods of darkness during the winter months. This can make it difficult to see, but our eyes could adapt to help us see better in these conditions. We might develop more rods in our retinas, which would help us to see in low light conditions. Or we might develop larger pupils, which would allow more light to enter our eyes. We might also develop more sensitive eyes in general, which would help us to detect movement and changes in our environment, even in the darkest of conditions. Skin is the body's first line of defense against the cold, but it also plays a role in regulating body temperature. People who live in the Arctic Circle have thicker skin than people who live in warmer climates. This is because thicker skin provides more insulation against the cold. Additionally, people who live in the Arctic Circle also have more subcutaneous fat, which is fat that's stored under the skin. This also provides additional insulation against the cold. If we were to live in the Arctic Circle permanently, our skin might need to thicken in order to protect us from the cold. We might also need to develop more subcutaneous fat in order to provide additional insulation. Another adaptation that our skin might undergo is the ability to produce more melanin. Melanin is a pigment that helps to protect the skin from the sun's ultraviolet rays. People who live in the Arctic Circle don't get much sun exposure during the winter months, so they don't need as much melanin in their skin. However, during the summer months, the sun is almost constantly shining, so it's important to protect the skin from sunburn. Our skin might develop the ability to produce more melanin in order to protect us from the sun's rays during the summer months. So could humans live permanently in the Arctic Circle? It's possible that with some adaptations, we could survive in the Arctic Circle. The Inuit people have thrived in this environment for generations, and we could learn a lot from their way of life. Our bodies would need to change in order to survive the cold, dark winters of the Arctic Circle. We would likely need more body fat, more body hair, better night vision, and thicker skin. Our skin might also need to produce more melanin in order to protect us from the sun's rays. With these adaptations, we could survive in the Arctic Circle. But it would be a challenging way of life, and we would need to be prepared for the physical and mental toll that it would take on us.